Welcome back, guys. Today we are here with another video. Today we are taking a look at the new Tier 9 Spanish premium cruiser, the Almirante Oquendo. Um, Almirante Oquendo is an interesting ship, but not in the way you'd think. This is a new Spanish cruiser, and even though the Spanish doesn't really have some qualities that you'd think from a Spanish cruiser that we've seen in the past. Now it does maintain a lot of those though. Um, let's get into the comparison system with Almirante Oquendo. Now, if you're wondering why I have Anchorage Buffalo, that's because Almirante Oquendo is not really a normal Spanish cruiser. I'll compare it to Andalusia to start, since that's technically its only other Spanish cruiser counterpart. I mean, from a skills perspective, it's basically the same as Andalusia. I mean, you have spotter plane, sonar, DFA. This is pretty standard stuff. You have one extra spotter plane, which is useful. It's nice. I mean, spotter plane 2 is always nice to have, but sonar is obviously useful. But yeah, I mean, now obviously Andalusia has burst, which is obviously a characteristic of Spanish cruisers, Spanish ships in general. It's a two-shot burst. I mean, we know Andalusia isn't a great ship. Same thing with Castilla. Um, Not really a great set of ships. Oquendo doesn't really have a burst, even though the icon is the same. It's actually a modified shell or an alternative firing mode. So this isn't actually a burst fire. It just alternates what the shells do. So you still have reload penalty at 12. So well, you'll see what the penalty is compared to the base reload. But it's 12 seconds, but it's a minus 30% main gun dispersion. So basically a precise aim in the form of an alternative firing mode. This is both better and worse than precise aim. The reason why is you can use it on demand, which means that it's technically infinite. You don't. It's not like precise aim where you have like 3 or 2 charges. You can only get so many salvos off. No. This is on demand. You can use whatever you want, but unlike precise aim, there's a reload penalty, so you do lose DPM when you use this gun. Now you're gonna see what the DPM looks like. First, we're gonna get into survivability. Nothing really just too much to write home about. It's slightly more HP, but it is a larger ship than Andalusia, so kind of makes sense. Slightly better damage reduction. Don't be fooled by these damage numbers. The armor is horrific on this ship. I really cannot understand, like, state like just how bad the armor is on this ship. You get shot in this thing and you die very fast. You have a lot. You have a good amount of HP, but this will not save you. So yeah, very very easy to get just annihilated in this ship. Um, so definitely needs to very very much be careful. Durability wise, mm, could be better, slightly better turn time. Um, Same acceleration. It's not the most maneuverable ship in the world. Um, it's very fast. 35, 30, almost 35 knots base is pretty good actually. But the maneuverability is something to write, not something to write home about. The gun, see, this is where Oquendo becomes different from Spanish cruisers. Spanish cruisers usually have pretty, meh DPM base. And they kind of use a burst to make up for this DPM. I mean, there's Numancia, which is actually not even that bad. Um, Base DPM wise. But like Numancia still doesn't have, it's not a DPM monster either. Um Oquendo, bit of a DPM monster for its tier. Um 12 203s instead of the 9 234s. Much better reload, 3 second better reload on main guns. You do have slightly worse range, but like that is just not really that significant. Um Obviously you have worse fire chance, technically worse damage, but honest the damage difference is really not even that large for it being only 203s. It's actually only like a 60-ish damage AP difference and like a six, man, not even 60, maybe less than 60 HE damage difference. So yes, the damage difference is actually not too large. Um, and you get better church for space, so that's pretty good. Um, Torps, you get one less torp. They reload slightly faster. Just like the normal, regular line. They're nice torps to use just to spam out, but they're not really like anything too special to write home about. Um, Especially since we only have three, so even less alpha than before. The AA, the AA has always been a bit of a joke with this line. I'm not gonna lie. Um, there's been potential, but like it's just the AA like just has no range. Like still missing a lot to be good AA. Very important. The Oquendo actually has better concealment than Ana Lucia, so there's actually a pretty big difference. You are not as easy to detect, which is a very big deal considering how weakly armored the Spanish creatures already are. So having better conceal is pretty significant. But yeah, how good is this DPM that we gain? Pretty significant. We'll compare it to the Buffalo, which is a very strange comparison because Buffalo's a tier 10. Um, your DPM. Oh, it's the wrong ship. Oops. This one. Here we go. Your DPM is roughly the same as Buffalo's. I think Buffalo's has a slight edge, but it's roughly the same. Um, on AP at least. Now, Buffalo has rapid reload, so this kind of gets skewed. But the base DPM is actually pretty much Buffalo DPM, which is really, really strong. Because this means that you basically bring Buffalo DPM from tier 10 to tier 9, which means you can face tier 8s with this thing. That's pretty strong. Very, very strong. And that makes it very unique. And unlike Buffalo, you have much better ballistics. The shells are much flatter. You maintain a lot. Well, not that Buffalo has bad AP pen, but you can retain a lot of your AP pen in range. The dispersion's not too bad. Yeah, I mean it's very very unique. There's also Anchorage, which is probably its direct competitor at tier 9 in terms of its 12 gun, Buffalo. This ship has significantly better base DPM than Anchorage. Um, Now Anchorage is probably a little easier to play because smoke, rapid reload. Oh, I should know. Even with rapid reload, this thing actually has more DPM than Anchorage, so something to keep in mind. But I do think Anchorage is a little easier to play. Not as easy to die in Anchorage, but Oquendo is definitely the much much more capable ship. Now how do you build Oquendo? As a standard build, I would not recommend running reload mod because I have a feeling the ship's gonna lose a lot of turns if you run reload mod. And I think dispersion is honestly more valuable, especially building it for the alternative firing mode. Um, and then it's just standard stuff from there. Well, speaking of the alternative firing mode, you can see the DPM loss. You lose about 3 seconds of reload, almost. So you do lose a significant amount of DPM. I think you lose about. I want to say you lose almost 20k AP DPM if you use burst. So you do lose a lot of DPM. Um, Now dispersion turns cracked with this 30% buff. Like you get crazy dispersion with this, but again, gotta use it in specific situations. The build I'm using, obviously the one and only Alvaro Cortez. This guy is like the most versatile commander in the game. He's used for like everything. Um, and this is probably if you have a Castilla build, this is pretty much the same build. Um, and then you just go active reload because you want to maximize the DPM. Camels, as per usual, the Spanish camels are absolutely trash. The Thor camel is Spanish creatures at least had like the Spanish flag on the sides, so, like it was at least somewhat distinct. This thing doesn't even have that. It's just white paint. Nice one, wargaming. Very unique camel. The stats suck. Main gun range is good, and everything else is kind of whatever. Extra first speed isn't bad, but do we need torpedo damage reduction or large caliber A? Like this is just trash. Um, the war paint is the better camel, but that's only because it has main battery dispersion. The A range buffs don't do anything. So yeah. Alicia bonus. Advanced rudder system is actually a very tempting thing to take, but like as you like, if we take it right now, you can see like 6.8, 11.83. If we run this, 7.14, 11.29. Nothing really changed. If it was the speed and propulsion one, I would for sure take it because that would be a much more significant buff. Buffing the acceleration by a significant margin and getting more speed on top of what is already good speed, that would actually be worthwhile. Over Elite Gun Operator, in my opinion. But the advanced rudder system is a significantly worse version of the speed lead bonus, in my opinion. A significantly worse version, since the buffs it does is less significant. Because max reverse speed, which is usually a low number anyways, and turn time, which it's not as good of a buff as acceleration. So yeah, Illigon Operator, because that's just a better buff. Battle honors, 2 destroyers in a battle. This isn't really a DD hunter, but he can do it, especially with if you hit good shots. Um, and yeah, that is the Oquendo. Let's get into some of the games. Now, here we are, guys, with the gameplay for Almirante Oquendo. Now, as I'm uploading this will be uploaded um probably by the time the patch notes are out ready for this update. If you're wondering why I haven't made a video on the patch notes, um, that's because the patch notes don't need a video. Because what is there to say? it's I can summarize the patch notes for you in a few sentences. It is new ships with the Dutch light cruisers and premiums. It is Clash Point and some changes to single realm for Turbo Strike, and the Dutch legendary commander De Ruyter got fixed. There you go. That's the update. I don't need to say anything else. Um, that's basically the summarized version of the update. There's new ships and stuff, but besides new ships and stuff, like what is there to say? I mean, there's like one major bug fix, which is De Ruyter. Otherwise, update is pretty small update. I'd say all things considered. Just really disappointing to see because I think this could have been a good update. But I mean, I guess not. I hope that Wargaming are holding all their cards for the last update of this year, because if they're not, then we might be cooked. But if they are and they actually do a substantial amount of changes, like more balance changes and stuff, see, then we can talk. But I think this update, as of right now, is will be poorly received. And also you just saw just chunking that guy. I'm gonna kind of let the Oquendo gameplay, do its thing, because I think the update's something people want to hear me talk about, and I think it's a strange update. I don't think it's necessarily like bad in the sense that it adds bad things to the game. Also, yeah, that gentleman is getting just absolutely decimated by his AP. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but I don't think it's necessarily good either. I think Wargaming kind of dropped the ball with this update. Some will say even worse things about the update than I'm saying. And that's fair. I can't really blame you. But yeah, I really think this update could have been better. But again, they postponed the United States, which I think, in my opinion, is like probably the biggest win, or one of the biggest wins of this update, because like, yeah, we don't want United States. We just don't want it. So yeah, it's great to see that it's getting postponed. Also, how did that Black Mall feature miss me? um, yes, I'm interested in Dutch Light Cruisers, but I don't think the game needs it right now. I just don't think it needs it right now. I think we need to move away from the plane situation. In the game, there's been a lot of planes in the past 2 updates. This update and the previous one, we just don't need that. So yeah, that's I take on the update. Kitakami, we don't need Kitakami in the game. We just don't need that in the game, honestly. Um, yeah. Also, speaking of Almirante Oquendo games, you can see this DPM is pretty intense on this ship. It's a really nice DPM ship. Nice little precise aim there. Okay, well, actually a lot of overpins. Honestly, I should have shot HE. Since it was a Jutland, would have got a lot more full pins. This guy's doing the most obvious Doom Spear in Mankind. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. Nice little sonar there. The sonar is very useful. I mean, even though the other Spanish cruisers have it, it actually is very useful. Like for dodging torps like this. Sonar 2 is always a nice skill to have on a cruiser. And Oquendo can actually use sonar versus DD since it actually has the DPM to fight DDs. Unlike the Spanish cruisers with their absolutely abysmal DPM. Yeah, you can see Oquendo's a very nice ship to play. Very nice guns. Obviously, I am using Cortez with EPCS Plus, so the pen is probably a little better than a normal commander. But, I mean, it's still good pen, good ballistics, you know, good dispersion overall. Yeah, it's just a nice ship to play, honestly. Like, this is kind of what this is a nice, basic ship that is not too broken. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into when you play Oquendo. Nothing too shocking. And yeah, it's the DPM, it's just immense. See the pen versus the Palmer superstructure. Even against the Palmer superstructure, it's actually not that bad. So we still retain a lot of our pen, even at this range. There we go. There's a Fletcher, I believe, for me. Or no, maybe it's the John. Either way, they're just dealing with DDs at this point. Oh, there's a Fletcher. In this kind of situation, I would use the alternative firing mode just to maximize your dispersion. I believe this is the really nice Albo Hill and Jolin. I forget. Or is it Fletcher? I forget which one it is. Let's see. I think it's the one with the correct dispersion. Look at that dispersion. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that is some filthy dispersion. That's disgusting. Again, like, look at that. That is just beautiful dispersion. Such a beautiful dispersion on the ship. So yeah. Even though it's, like I said, it's precisely on demand. You can use it when you want. It has, again, downsides because there's DPM, but honestly, for the like shots like that on DDs, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice dispersion, honestly. I forget if I take the skill or not. We don't. Yeah. Get to the next game. It's a nice little 111k game in Oquendo. Alright, and here we are with the second game. Little less of a nice game. It's actually sub 100k. It's only 90k plus or something. I don't know. I know, very much a shame. Not really much to say about Almirante Oquendo. If you like DPM cruisers, if you like Hindenburg, honestly, you probably will enjoy this ship actually a good amount. So yeah, it's a nice ship. You have to be careful against tier 10s. Really hard hitting BBs at tier 10 can really demolish a ship very, very fast if you get broadside. I've been sick crisis by a repub who just shoots belt. Like, that's just kind of like a normal repub as well. So yeah, that's kind of just how things go. Yeah, it's not very well armored, but it's a nice ship to play. It's a very comfortable ship. I think I would mind getting this ship, honestly. Like, it's just a fun ship to play. But it would be another ship you have to set Cortez for if you have Victoria or Bazan. So bit of a problem there, but a small price to pay for a very nice ship if you do get it. I'm just gonna go to the left flank here. But yeah, speaking about the update earlier, I just don't know if this is the update that Wargaming needs to have right now. But of course we'll see. I think the previous updates were a nice. They were a nice change of pace because updates like this is what kind of made the game die slowly. Because there's just nothing significant being added besides new content, which is cool. We all like new content, but you know, we need something besides just new content. Again, I'm hoping the events will make up for this, but I can't guarantee that either, and I don't want Wargaming to bank it all on their events, so hopefully the last update of the year is somewhat interesting. Also, I just missed. There's a Neptune in that smoke. I don't know why he's this deep into the captain smoke, but he's there. Gotta watch out for these battleships, obviously. I think of a Marlboro in front of me. There he is, right there. Small removed. Got a nice little salvo in there. And we are apparently going to sit stationary into torps. That is obviously the most big brain move of all time. Don't know why you'd ever do that to yourself. Very interesting paid actor there. So yeah, please rebricked. Push it in now. I mean, I don't know what is up with the average player recently in the past few months, but they have just gotten so much worse. Even like, not even just from a single realm, just in general, they've gotten much worse. So, yeah, I mean, interesting Prince Rupert player trying to push the gap here, even though he's getting crossfired. He's trying to push into a Los Andes, which is a very interesting idea. Yeah, push his bow. Nice little AP chunk. The AP really does slap in this ship. I don't really recommend shooting HE in this ship unless you're finding like GK or like Kremlin at like max range. But like, come on, look at that amazing AP. Some beautiful AP on this ship. wonderful AP. So definitely an AP ship. Don't get fooled. Also, do not get fooled by using this skill only, the alternative firing mode. Technically speaking, you would get very good dispersion the whole time, which is very valuable. So your effective DPM actually might not even be that much worse, but it is still worse DPM. And besides shooting DDs or like, you know, cruisers or like that situation where, you know, he's about to die, it's just better to have DPM up all the time. Just to maximize your DPM, because that is really your main advantage, is that you have incredible DPM stock for your tier. So when you use the alternative fire mode, you kind of just gimp that part of your ship.
Take off.
Your spotter plane. Minnesota, just do a little bit of over the rock farming. The Palmer is not shooting at me because I, for some strange reason, 2 BBs up north. I don't know why they're up north. Yeah, trying to kill this Minnesota. There's the Palmer. There was a DD here. I don't know where he is, but he's somewhere around here. I don't remember if I switched to HE at this range. I still got full pins on the superstructure. And there was the spotter plane. Just zoom some torps into there. Palmer's just chilling over there. He's trying to push into 2 BBs that are kiting, which is a very interesting decision in Palmer. There's the Groningen airstrikes. The AA on this ship, again, it's a bit of a joke, honestly. Like, if the AA range is actually good, talk, but it's just not that good. So, AA is a bit of a joke. That's probably the worst dispersion, honestly. That didn't even look like a dispersion shot, but okay. Only 3 shells as well, very nice. Yeah. So Connor will die. That's Confederate. Yeah, that Palmer died. I'm not really surprised. Oh, there's the Groningen. Finally, he has showed up to the battle after 6.5 minutes or 5.5 minutes of doing absolutely nothing. Now I will use this just because I want to have maximum dispersion and just to hit the Groningen. Right there. I'm just gonna keep pushing this guy. But yeah, Oquendo, is it worth it? Yeah, like I said, if you like DPM ships, like stuff like Hindenburg, it'll be a nice ship to play. I don't know how it's coming out, so we'll have to wait and see. If it's a bundle, I think it'll be worth it if it's a bundle, as long as it's a reasonably priced bundle, not like $100, but it's like $70, 60, $70. That'd be good. But if it's a crate, that's when things get questionable. It's a crate. But a sonar sweep, that's even more questionable because, well, not more questionable, but it's gonna be depending on what the price of the sonar sweep is. So yeah, could really vary, but hopefully it is bundle. I think it would be a good bundle ship, honestly. I just hope it's not priced as outrageously as Victoria's bundle. But yeah, this Groningen's going to die now. I think no. He dies after this, okay. I don't know why I should have lived so long. Maybe just accept this fate. Yeah, that'll be doing it for me, guys. And, see you guys later.